Hey everyone, welcome back to Reading with Tatiana. Today I'm doing my full book review on The Firekeeper'S Daughter by Angeline Boulley, and I gave this book a 4 out of 5 read. Before I go into my full book review, I'd like to give a Booktuber Shoutout to Still Waiting for My Seder. I will link her channel down below, and the reason why I'm recommending her is because I came across her review on this book, Firekeeper'S Daughter, before, and it made me want to read more about the book. She said that this book is marketed as a fantasy novel, or that's what she thought when she saw the cover, but when she read it, she knew it definitely wasn't like that. So I was intrigued, so I picked up the book, and I also was very blown away by how dark the novel was. Again, I'll link her channel down below if you want to check out Still Waiting for My Seder. As always, before I go into my full review, I'll appreciate it if you can hit the subscribe button. If you have read this book and want to leave a comment down below, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. I want to start off sharing about the author Angeline Boulley, who is also Ojibwe herself, which is super cool because the protagonist Donis is also of the Ojibwe tribe as well. And also to add to that, the author Angeline also grew up and lives in the same town that the story is set in. So it's really cool that you can see aspects of her upbringing sprinkle out throughout the plot and the characters. A quote I want to share from Angeline herself is that she believes there are simply too few stories told by and about Indigenous girls and women, especially from a contemporary viewpoint. So I thought it's really cool that she wrote this novel, which is actually her debut novel, as it captures a younger generation and the impacts of a lot of generational trauma that's still prevalent today in the Indigenous community. So Angeline is a very important writer, I believe, for the Indigenous movement. As mentioned earlier, Angeline is also from Sault Ste. Marie, where the book is set in Michigan, and she's also an enrolled member of the Sault Ste. Marie tribe of Chippewa Indians. And another thing that's really cool about Angeline is, as the book is called The Firekeeper'S Daughter, her father in reality himself is also a traditional firekeeper. And what that means in Indigenous tribes is that he strikes the ceremonial fires at spiritual activities in the tribal community, and he ensures protocols are followed. And he also is responsible for cultural teachings and sharing the stories of the tribe to future generations. Now to get to the book. This book was published in 2021, and the genre, as you can see by my library, is young adult. However, I really disagree with that. I think it is quite a heavy topic book for young adults. Not to say that young adults shouldn't be allowed to read this book, but I just want to put a disclaimer because there's lots of trigger warnings with assault, with things like with drugs and that kind of stuff. So I was really surprised it's young adults. I would probably put it more as like contemporary or drama or thriller because it definitely fell on the edge of my seat, especially at the last third of the book. A bit about the story, we meet Donis, who is a half Indigenous and half Caucasian, and she's always lived kind of between both worlds, never really fully belonged in either community in Sault Ste. Marie. She lives in a hockey town, and there seems to be a rampant meth problem or drug problem in this town, and her uncle David also recently died from a supposed overdose. As this is a hockey town, a lot of the Indigenous youth only make it big when they become part of the hockey team, and also then maybe go to college for hockey. So her brother Levi is part of the hockey team, and there's a new student or new player who joined the hockey team, Jamie, from out of town. So Jamie is important to the story because he's not really who he seems, and him and Donis paths kind of cross, and there's a bit of like undeniable spark in their connection. Shortly after Donis and Jamie's paths cross in Sault Ste. Marie, a close friend of Donis is murdered right before her eyes, and then all of a sudden her life is thrown in topsy-turvy, and she is kind of forced to be involved in the meth drug problem in her town. I don't want to do too many spoilers, but that's just kind of how the premise of the book starts, and as you can see, it's already very dark really quickly, so it's very shocking that it's a young adult's novel. One thing about this book, because it is quite a thick book, that there are so many characters, and I'm not going to get into all of them, but there's just really cool because even the book is long and there's lots of characters. It felt each character was very fleshed out in my opinion, and especially with the Indigenous culture and traditions, each character, especially in her family and also the elders in her community, were very important to really understand who Donis is as an individual. Common themes I learned throughout this book is number one is, without getting into too many spoilers, is definitely the loyalty between law enforcement and your community. And I don't want to get too much into it, but it really raises a question like, if the cops came to your home and wanted to ask questions about your family, is your loyalty to the cops or to your family? I mean, I don't know, for me that's kind of like not very black and white, so I'm really curious what you guys would think about that. Other common theme that kind of resonated with me, I'm not sure if it was the objective of the author herself, Angeline, was the power of plants and its medicinal properties and how it can be used in cultures and how it can be abused when combined with drugs like meth. Although, fun fact I learned from this book is that meth, not crystal meth, but meth itself, way back when the origins actually come from plants and were actually used for like asthma and treating to open your lungs. So I thought that was really interesting to learn if it's true, because I didn't fact check it. Other common theme I learned throughout this book and experience is the impact of colonization in our indigenous communities in North America, in Canada and US, and how even though they were colonized like hundreds of years ago, which some people argue, there's still that impact of generational trauma that still affects the youth today. So I think Angeline did a really good job sharing the story, because these are like 18-year-olds, these are 16-year-olds, and they're still being really affected by what happened to their communities hundreds of years ago. Things I didn't enjoy about this book, as you've seen in all my reviews, that I feel whenever there's romance that's not needed, it kind of ruins the story for me. I really don't think the romance was needed, especially because of the age difference and the situation between the two characters. But I do understand it's a young adult's novel and that's what sells, but that was a big part of it that I didn't like about the book. Other thing I didn't like about the book, although this is a more personal preference, and it's only because I read a different book that was in the Middle East where they offered a glossary of all the terms she used for the book, is the thing I didn't like about Firekeeper'S Daughter was there are lots of indigenous terms sprinkled through the text, and if you read it, you can kind of get the context of what that word means, but I would have really appreciated if at the beginning or the end of the book there was a glossary of terms for me to refer back to while I was reading the book. Things I did like about this book, as I gave it a 4 out of 5. The first one I like is that it showed the, I guess, duality of being human, and how just because you're a good character doesn't mean that you're not affected by bad choices. So I really enjoyed the different progression of all the characters in the book. Another thing that I enjoyed that resonated with me was the struggles internally and externally that Donis, the protagonist, had as being half indigenous and half white. Just because, you know, even though I'm fully Asian, I was born in Canada, so I felt a lot of struggle with my upbringing, being kind of stuck between two cultures. So I really enjoyed that in this book. Other very surface thing I like about this book is I really enjoyed the cover of this book. So as I shared earlier, Donis is of two cultures, and I really love the artwork of this book. And the last thing I want to share that I like about this book is that the action is really good, especially the last third of the book. When I was reading it again last night, I was giving myself 2 days to read it, to finish it, but I actually stayed up till 4 a.m. to read it because I just didn't want to stop. The action just kept coming. It was really great. On GOODREADS, this book, The Firekeeper'S Daughter by Angeline Boulley, it got an average of 4.38 out of 5, which I think is a guaranteed good read. So some things I want to share why people didn't like it was they thought it was kind of slow, it dragged, lots of plot that didn't need to be there, lots of repetitive scenes. With the repetitive scenes, I can see why some people think that, but I think it was important to show Dawn as the protagonist and her relive trauma over and over again of witnessing the murder. Other things I can see, especially because I think this book was marketed as a young adult novel, and because if you go in with that mindset, this book is quite thick and the story is quite long and it kind of drags. So I can see those cons being valid. People who gave really good reviews, in addition to what I shared before about what I like, is that people love learning about this indigenous community, about the effects of drugs and generational trauma that affects these communities to the younger generations, and it really shine a spotlight to share these indigenous voices. So those are very common reviews, and for a lot of people it was just jaw-dropping to learn so much about this new community that's always existed. 3 reasons you should read this book is: the first one, learn more about the impacts of colonization on indigenous communities. The second one is this book has been picked up by Barack and Michelle Obama's production company, and it's going to be a TV series on Netflix, which I think will be really cool to see. And the third reason why I think you should read it is, even though I don't agree it's a young adults novel, that this book is actually listed for top 100 young adults novel to read. Now I'll share how this book made me feel, because as always, if you ask me in a week, a month, a year, 10 years from now, I probably won't remember the characters or what really happened in the book, but I'll always remember how a book made me feel. So this book, The Firekeeper'S Daughter by Angeline Boulley, it made me feel very shocked to learn about how meth a hard drug can really impact people so young. For me personally, I've never really seen it in my personal life, so that was very eye-opening for me to learn. All right, that's my book review for The Firekeeper'S Daughter by Angeline Boulley. If you read this book as well, I'd love to hear your comments down below. And if you want to join me next time, I'm starting a self-help-ish book called Living Untethered, Beyond the Human Predicament by Michael A. Singer. I do want to clarify that I'm reading Beyond the Human Predicament because I actually originally thought I picked his other book, which is also called Living Untethered, but the line below is a bit different. So far it's good, and I feel like it'll be very mind-opening for me. Thank you for watching until the end. As always, I appreciate if you can hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.